Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, and if you want to submit to be on the show, take a look at the information in the description.
So I got a 50-cent dollar hand from Poker Bros with 200 effective.
Yep. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is Poker Bros, 250 effective. Okay. By the way,
200.
Oh, 200 effective. What's the game size?
Yeah.
50 cent a dollar?
50 cent a dollar.
50 cent a dollar, 200 effective on Poker Bros. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and this is the Panamericana Union, so a little bit stiffer.
Okay.
But the cutoff opens to 3. It folds to me in the big blind with King of Spades, Queen of Spades.
All right, so folds to hero in the cutoff?
No, the hero's in the big blind.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's the cutoff.
Villain opens from the cutoff.
Yep.
Yes, the villain opens from the cutoff. So we're going to be out of position with King, Queen of Spades.
Okay.
That I 3-bet to 9.
So he opens to 3 in the cutoff, you're in the big blind, your head's up, and you 3-bet to 9. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a little bit small. I mean, I think it's definitely a 3-bet hand. It's definitely a slam dunk 3-bet. It's a slam dunk 3-bet. If there was somebody that called in between, but definitely king queen suited. I would just tend to say, you're about 200 big blinds effective, so you're at a positional disadvantage here, and I would probably make this more like 4 or 5 times from out of position. Literally, like it's probably a minimum of 12, maybe to 15. But okay, you make it to 9, and he calls, cutoff calls.
Yep.
Okay, so your head's up, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then we get a 10 of hearts, 7 of clubs, Queen of diamonds.
Okay, so you flop top pair.
And I go ahead and lead for 650.
So hero bets $6.50. By the way, is this a full ring table or a 6 max table? Just out of curiosity.
6 max.
A 6 max, okay. So a little more short-handed. Definitely a 3-bet for the big blind. So you bet 650 into maybe 18 or 19. And what happens?
And he calls. And, yeah, especially because it's 6 max and he's in the cutoff. The reason I didn't go 4 or 5X is because I wanted to keep his range a little bit wider. But I think you're probably right that he's not changing much of his hands with 9 or 12.
So it looks like the pot's about $32, and it's queen of diamonds, 7 of clubs, 10 of hearts. You have king, queen of spades, okay?
Yep, and the turn is the queen of hearts.
Oh, okay, so you got trips.
Yep, a turn trips.
Yep.
So I thought this was a great card to, like, trap on. So I checked pretty quickly. And he leads out now for 21. And I quickly check raise to 45.
This is a really interesting call when you emailed this one, and even though it's at the low stakes because of what ends up happening. So you've check raised the turn here with trips, with king, queen, 10 of hearts, 7 of clubs, queen of diamonds on the flop, which means that there's not a flush draw. Now, he could have a hand like Jack 9. He could have King Jack. Of course, you have a king in your hand. He could also have a weaker queen. He may also have a 10 that he might bet for a little bit of protection if you check to him on the turn. One of the things that I would say is that I think Ace Queen is actually a little bit of a better candidate to check raise here, just because you don't block King Jack as much, and you don't necessarily always have to worry about your kicker here in this particular spot, whereas I think a lot of ace-queen is just going to call you in the cutoff to your 3x. So I would probably just continue to bet. I don't think check raising is terrible. Again, it's an exploitable sizing because I don't know really what bluffs you have when you make it, say, just mid-raise. Like, it's very hard for you to have a bluff here. Like, if you had king jack of hearts, you would either continue to bet the turn, which would be an open-ended, which would be a royal flush draw, right? You'd either continue to bet the turn, or you'd probably check raise larger for fold equity. So If I were to check raise, I think I'd have to take a more normal sizing of like 70 to 75, get some more money in, because if you only make it 45 and he calls, the pot's like 122, and you still have like 140 left in your stack. So I would raise this larger if I was going to check raise. But okay, so you raise to
Okay.
45 and the cutoff calls?
He does.
Okay, so now the pot's like 122 ish according to my
Yep.
calculations. All right, let's go to the river.
And then it's our Gen card, Queen of Clubs.
Queen of clubs. So you make quads here. So this is really interesting. So when you check raise the turn and he called, what did you think was his range that he had, basically?
I figured King Jack. I did think possibly Ace Queen worried me a little bit when he called because, and I realized afterwards that this was a little bit thin to do. Pocket tens are probably going to just look to get it in, or they're probably going to raise me on the flop. And that's pretty much it. And then I thought maybe aces or kings, but I thought they would play a little faster in the moment than that. So
Yeah, but
at this
aces or
point,
kings,
I kind of
aces and kings are gonna four bet pre-flop though, right? Most of the time, you do have kings, so
right.
I just wonder. I mean, your small sizing, even if the opponent has a 10 here, right? Even if your opponent has a 10, I don't know if they're going to call to your small check raise sizing on the turn. Like if I put myself in your position, if I put myself in your opponent's position, and I've talked about this a lot recently in a lot of my training stuff, like sort of variable turn sizing where especially in a 3-bet pot and I'm your opponent and I'm in position, I'm going to be calling, with a fairly wide range on the flop to your small C bet sizing on Queen 7-10.
Mhm.
Then when you check a queen on the turn, I'm going to be betting King Jack. I'm going to be betting Jack 9. I'm going to be betting my Queen X. I'm going to be betting my thick value full houses that I didn't raise on the flop. And then I'm going to have some protection types of bets, like with a hand like, say, Jack 10. So if I'm betting like
Mhm.
Jack 10 and you min raise me, I think I'm probably going to fold. So if I'm your opponent and you take this line, I'm probably going to have a lot of draws, or I'm going to have a fair amount of Queen X myself, or possibly full houses where I'm just going to let you basically call. Excuse me, I'm going to call because I think maybe you're bluffing or you're going to bet a queen anyway. So if I'm
Mhm.
folding out all my tens and I do call, now when the river's a queen, what do you think the play should be? So again, I'll repeat that. If you think your opponent either on the turn when he calls your check raise either has a queen, has like a super strong hand like a full house, or has a draw, okay? When he calls the check raise on the turn. Now when the river comes a queen, what does that mean?
That I have all the value. Like,
Well, I mean, you have all the
I have
value,
to
but he
check.
doesn't he doesn't have a queen, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have
so
one. You're right.
so
Yeah.
so if he's betting a draw here on the turn that he continues, so he can continue on with his draw portion, right? I mean, I guess very occasionally he might have like sevens or tens, but those hands shouldn't call the river anyways if you continue to bet. Those hands are basically counterfeit on their own. The point being here
Hmm.
is that I actually think the play is to check, and you may actually give your opponent a green light to bet, and a lot of people are incapable of checking a really strong hand here. It's like one of these things where
Hmm.
I give an example where like you make trips on the river and you actually check to your opponent on a draw heavy board. They will take the green light and bluff because they don't see people make trips and check. I think in this spot you wouldn't see a person really make quads and check, and if he's not going to have that 10x portion of his range, then I think checking is the play here.
So I just try to think of what's like the bluffiest thing. What can I do to make it look super bluffy?
Hmm.
So I just rip. I ripped.
Well, hero all in. I don't know if ripping is going to make it. Yeah, but here's the problem, right? Here's the problem.
Yeah,
So,
looking back, like what can he call me with?
well, the problem is that you have the queen. So you check raise the
Yeah.
turn, and now you move all in on the river. Well, he doesn't have the queen, so this is similar to how situations are very underbluffed on four flushed unpaired boards, because it's so easy for either opponent to have the stiff nuts, meaning like there's a lot of combinations of like the ace of spades on a four suit board or the ace of a suit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing here. There's a lot of combinations of queen X that somebody can
Mm-hmm.
have. So, you know, your opponent probably actually has more queen X than you do based upon the preflop configuration. So, you just can never be bluffing here unless you're just maniacal. So, I don't know what your opponent could possibly call with here. What ended up happening?
Well, he called, and
Okay.
I was I was shown pocket kings.
Pocket kings. Okay. So pocket kings, yeah, I mean, that's a hand that will call for sure. I wouldn't have expected that based upon the play. The fact
In the
that you,
pre-flop
yeah,
action.
the pre-flop action usually makes it a little, and you have got a king in your hand, and you think aces.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean,
It
if
was
I knew
positive
if I
variance.
knew the cutoff had kings or aces, I definitely would move in. It just doesn't seem like it would be played in that manner. But I thought that was a very interesting hand. I appreciate it. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call-in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.